This world is not what you think it is. This world is not what you think it is.
Before I start discussing the proofs of the flat Earth, it's necessary to first address the ridiculousness of the official heliocentric model, because you probably haven't really thought about it. I didn't. I just parroted information in my classrooms to get the grade. Shockingly, very few people even know what the official heliocentric model is. Let's just cover a few of the numbers. If you believe in official heliocentrism, you believe that the wobbling and tilted Earth is rotating 1,037 miles per hour at the equator. The speed of sound is 767 miles per hour, so the ground you're standing on, at least on the equator, is allegedly moving at 1.4 times the speed of sound. Can you think of any evidence of the Earth's rotation? Wouldn't you think that this movement would be evident in the atmosphere, that airplanes, clouds, and weather balloons would be affected by the ground's movement at 1,037 miles per hour? The fact is that there's no evidence of the ground's rotation whatsoever. Foucault pendulums and the supposed Earth's Coriolis effect are nonsense. They are absurd lies. Second, if you believe in heliocentrism, you believe that the Earth is moving in its orbit around the Sun at 66,600 miles per hour. Even Einstein said you can't detect the Earth's movement by any optical experiment. So why do you believe in this nonsense other than you just take it on faith? But it doesn't end there. Next, the official model says that the Sun is also moving at approximately 450,000 miles per hour, and all the planets are somehow being dragged by the Sun's gravity as the Sun rockets through space around the Milky Way galaxy. With all these inconceivable and undetectable movements, the North Star has remained fixed, year after year, and has been that way throughout recorded history. Next, you believe the entire Milky Way galaxy, including our Sun and the North Star, is traveling at 1.34 million miles per hour towards the constellation Hydra. If you believe in heliocentrism, you believe the Earth is moving in a vortex through space like this at over 1 million miles per hour. Of course, this video isn't correctly scaled, but it's even more ridiculous when you think of it correctly scaled. But I want you to think about this. All of the so-called planets and their moons are all supposed to be on the same plane with the Sun, but rocketing with the Sun at unimaginable speeds, being pulled by gravity. How would gravity hold these planets on the same plane as the Sun? How surprised would you be at firing a bowling ball, representing our Sun, and then have tiny BBs up to 3,000 feet away orbiting around the zooming bowling ball, Sun, and still maintaining the same speed with the bowling ball? It's nonsense, especially when you consider that those tiny BBs have other tiny BBs rotating around them, all maintaining the same plane with our bowling ball Sun. Think about comets that zip away from the Sun to then, 70 years later, like Halley's Comet, to catch back up with the Sun on a tabular schedule. Are these comets attached by rubber bands? How did they catch back up? I don't care how many degrees you have. This is stupid. Look at this footage of star trails. Think of how impossible it would be to film these trails as the Earth is supposedly wobbling, tilted, rotating at 1,000 miles per hour, orbiting at 66,600 miles per hour, and chasing after a Sun zooming at 450,000 miles per hour. As pointed out in the book Kings Dethroned, modern astronomy is built upon shameful blunder after shameful blunder. It's fascinating how few honest, educated people have found these blunders. But that's the power of institutionalized conformity. Even the most educated become nothing but mere parrots of their institutions. I thought flat earthers were maybe faking their tests, so I bought this camera so I could see it for myself. Flat earthers aren't faking anything. Unlike the globe model propagandists, you don't have to trust us. Flat Earth isn't word of mouth anymore. I can show you the actual video proof again and again and again. Humanity has discovered that there is indeed no curvature to the Earth, and that truth will not be suppressed because you can see it for yourself with merely a telescope or high zoom camera. Even though it has become a bastion of censorship now, I still want to thank YouTube for its unwitting help, and especially those first Flat Earth pioneer YouTubers like Eric DeBay, ODD Reality, Mark Sargent, Jeranism, Rob Skiba, DITRH, Mr. Thrive and Survive, My Perspective, P-Brain, Glowbusters, the speakers here, and so many more. Thank you. The YouTube platform enabled hundreds, if not thousands of us to conduct similar curvature and other tests, like roll bottom. YouTube enabled us to share our observations with millions of people, and they could see it for themselves. Flat Earth is founded on repeatable observations and tests that anyone here can perform, and millions of people are seeing the truth despite the overwhelming propaganda and censorship that is now happening. Flat Earthers don't say, believe us. Flat Earthers say, believe no one. Test it for yourself.
I was going to really just put the nail in the coffin of the heliocentric model. I understand that you go through the stages of grief when you realize that you've been lied to. You're going to feel anger, you're going to bargain, you're going to all this stuff. I understand. This is the absolute proof. And you never have to say another thing about it. And people get so mad. I get it. You're going through grief. You're mourning grief. Ready? What people forget is that it's not a circle around the sun. Even if it was a circle, it'd still be impossible. But it's an ellipse, which means that it changes speed. And unlike the evolution lie, where you can just keep adding billions of years, but the billions and billions of years, but it's 1 year. That's a fixed amount of time and a fixed amount of speed. The length of Earth's trajectory around the sun is 940 million kilometers. Thus, the Earth travels about 107,000 kilometers per hour. This means that our planet moves around the sun at an average speed of 30 kilometers per second, or Mach 88. 88 times the speed of sound. So let that sink in. Earth speed, this is the kicker. Earth speed is not constant as the Earth orbits elliptical orbit. Let that sink in. If you're going 66,000 miles an hour and you change 1% of your speed, and in this model it's significantly more than 1%, well, you wouldn't even feel it. No, just listen. It's a fixed amount of time. It's 1 year. If you change 1%, that's 660 miles an hour. That would liquefy all flesh. If you change 1 mile an hour, I challenge you to walk on a treadmill at 1 mile an hour and tell a friend to randomly unplug it. You will trip and you will fall down. I challenge you to hold a coffee that's full to the brim as you drive down the street at 60 miles an hour. Just tap on the brake to go 59. The coffee will spill. When you're going 88 times the speed of sound and you have to change speeds, you would feel it. Now, even if the psychotic people going through the stages of mourning want to say, oh, no, but you go 1 mile an hour to 0.97 miles an hour, you would be able to measure it. Can't have it both ways, guys. Not only would you can do the math on it because the ellipse is fixed and the time is fixed. 1 year. And you can check out the math of the ellipse. There is a change of speed every year. At minimum, twice a year, at minimum. The way an ellipse works, zoom, zoom. Okay, you can break that down into any fraction you want. It's still one fixed year. Not only would you feel it would kill you, but forget all that. You could measure it. You can measure it. And if you don't think you can measure a change in speed, you're lying. Look at a swimming pool. Look at any water. If you just go like this, ripple, ripple, ripple. My ladle's overflowing. Yeah, it's over. Guys, this heliocentric model is over. The Earth changes speed going around the sun at Mach 88. And that's why they sent in Einstein to say, oh, it's all relative. No, it isn't. If you're going 66,000 miles per hour and there's any change whatsoever in speed, you would feel it. Forget about 1,000 mile an hour spin, how you couldn't operate a plane, or you couldn't forget. Just this is it. You need no more explanation. If you're going not 66,000, 1 mile per hour, and it goes to 0, from 1, you would trip. And listen, I'm not here I've heard the arguments. I hear the arguments all the time. I could read you hundreds of them, of cognitive dissonance, and people being like, one of the biggest things you'll hear is anger. They're going through the stages of grief. I don't know if you realize that. That's what it is. I deal with this all the time. It's one reason why my band hammer is so intense. It's grief. They'll get mad at me. They'll say, you, sir, how dare you? I mean, it's so easy to understand. Even an idiot could. LOL. I mean, inertia and vortex. That's grief. And then they'll bargain. Well, it could be that. It just and then depression. Well, what do we do now? I mean, my whole childhood. Just stop. It's not that big a deal. It's more beautiful that it isn't spinning endlessly around the sun. It's way better. It's just like, And this is one of those torpedoes that you can't get around. And there's people that spend their whole day, I think, just trying to troll me and just being like, you sir. It's like, how dare you? That's 1% of speed change, which is, it's way more than that in the given ellipse, in the given year. You can't change the numbers. The calendar year is set. The rotation is set. So you can't do what they do in evolution and say, well, in 20 billion years, a hurricane can just create a Ferrari. No, you can't just keep adding years. 1 year, one ellipse, change in speed. How do you not measure it? How do you not feel it? How do things not fall over? We're talking about Mach 88. 1% change would liquefy all flesh. There's more than 1% change in speed in the given ellipse, in the given year, in a given moment.
It's not okay to think that the Earth is flat.
So trust your eyes and trust your experience. Trust your feeling, trust your intuition. Look out, see the horizon flat. Feel for yourself. You're not moving. Just sit still. Just sit still for a second. You're not moving. You're not spinning around an axis at 1,000 miles per hour, rotating around the sun at 67,000 miles per hour, spiraling around the galaxy at 500,000 miles per hour, and shooting off from a big bang at 67 million miles per hour. You're not. You're motionless. You're just sitting there. Just sit still. What does that even mean, sit still? You think you could sit still with all those motions? Does it feel like you're moving? Feel that? Same thing you've always felt? Nothing? Ever? Nobody's ever felt movement? Nobody's ever seen the earth move. Nobody's ever seen the earth curve. Maybe you just got fooled by some masons. Mark Twain said, it's easier to fool people than to convince them they've been fooled. That's why it's so hard to convince you you've been fooled. You can't possibly believe that you and the rest of the world could have been lied to and deceived by these Masons. The oldest and largest secret society in the world, over 5 million members, all over the world, existing for hundreds of years. But not you, right? They couldn't fool you. Of course you're spinning around. Of course you are. That's what they told you in school. They don't lie to you in school.
It's not okay to say that the Earth is flat. This is some sort of strange denial. I don't know where it comes from. And it's something where I keep getting this question. We really need to put this question to bed because we've known the Earth is a sphere for a long time.
I think the fucker's flat. I don't give a fuck. I don't think it's spinning for shit.
I know you're out there. I can feel you now. I know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change. I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin.